Welcome back to another episode of Being at Work. I am your host, Andrea Butcher, and today we are continuing our conversation with Dr. Ute, who joined us in an October episode, October the 16th, her episode released. And I have talked so much about her book, This Process of Yielding. I've written daily doses of leadership about it. She has inspired so many conversations. And if you didn't listen to that conversation on October the 16th, I would encourage you to do so, but also you don't need to have, because no doubt there will be insight and wisdom that she shares today that is exactly what you need to hear. She left me with a yielding assignment.
I gave you work.
She gave me work. And I will tell you about that. And it is a perfect bridge into today's conversation. We're going to go deeper on noticing.
Correct, yeah.
Because once you yield, as she says, the next step in resilience is awareness, paying attention to what's happening inside of you and around you.
Yeah.
So in our conversation today, I'd love for Dr. Ute to explain why noticing isn't just about mindfulness. It's about developing the psychological flexibility to pause, reflect, and respond. And she'll talk about some simple ways that leaders can build this noticing muscle. So think about this as you listen to her. What might you start noticing in your own life if you gave yourself just a little more space? Dr. Ute, who has officially become the Being at Work therapist, welcome back to the show. You create so much calm. You have a way of disarming and grounding me, maybe more so than anybody I've ever met. So thank you so much. What a gift you are.
Wow. I mean, wow. You've basically shut me up now. It's interesting that you say the calming, because when I grew up, my parents called me, so just for those ones who haven't met us before, I'm originally from Germany, from Bavaria. They called me a Gispel. And a Gispel is the one who can't sit still, who falls off the chair, who bangs into the door, who, when you give them a cup, you better make sure it's not the one you don't want to lose, because I'm going to throw everything on the floor. So that's where I come from. But the idea of noticing what's going on in me, and allow me to be a bit ego-driven here, because I talk about me here for a moment. The training I underwent now for at least 12 years. It's not a formal training. Something I started 12 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since, every day a little bit. Has allowed me to understand that there is so much to be noticed, that I don't have to run through the world to give my very ADHD-like brain more dopamine through outside theater. I can find a lot of data, a lot of thinking inside me, which stimulates me equally, but grounds me at the same time. And I think what you notice is me being grounded, not free of suffering, not free of pain, not free of, forgive me to say, that shit life throws at me left, right, and center. I'm still grounded nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. I feel that grounding.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it interesting how contagious it is that I ground? You, before we hit record, you were talking about loud. Things are loud. And you, I mean, your voice is so calming and so quiet and so peaceful. And that's my experience of you in a loud world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loud.
I mean, I think I've said this. I've done a bit of stand-up comedy. I do German cabaret, which means I do singing and dancing in weird places with fabulous costumes and very different makeup, so nobody would recognize me. There is an energy in that, but this energy must come with a balance. I have a wonderful Chinese doctor, lady doctor, so she does traditional Chinese medicine with and for me. And first time I met her, she said, "You very tired?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And we speak a lot. And she knows what I do. And she said, every word you are using, you are throwing out chi, so that life energy. Every time you speak, you are giving something away from you, which is not coming back because you're offering it freely to the world. And that made me think for a long time is how can I give without depleting at the same time?
How can I give without depleting at the same time?
Mm.
Before we hit record, you were talking about giving as an offering.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I have learned. Again, allow me to reflect where I come from and where I am today. And guys, when you listen, I don't reflect in order to say me, me, me. The reason why I offer that journey is I meet a lot of people who say, this is who I am, in a deterministic way, and I can't be different and I can't change. And I like to offer my own life as a model for how change is possible. And I'm not coming from a highly trained academic background where, Nietzsche was the afternoon thing we discussed. I've started working at the age of 13 because Dad said, if you want money, you got to work, right? So this is not something for people who say, I have to have this and I have to have that and I have to have that. This is really something for people who want to go on a journey of discovery and development and without hating who they are today. So this idea of not loudness, this idea of offering what we have to others is something that is very new to me because I come from a very new for the last 20 years. Oh my goodness, now you know how old I am. I come from a background where it was very clear that there was one opinion and this was the right one and you bow. Okay? That's not offering, that's oppression. And when I started to train as a psychologist, and some of you might remember it's my third career, I of course thought now that I'm training as a psychologist, I know shit. Right? But the most important training I think I had was understanding I know shit, that's true. I'm an expert in my field, that's true. But what makes me truly a person who others may want to connect is that I'm not pushing it onto you. But I'm putting it on my hands and I say, look, this is how I see it, how I see it. And I offer you this perspective. I offer you that micro shift. I offer you that micro training. And I tell you why I do that. Ultimately, the decision whether you take it or not is yours. It's non-violent. And exactly, that's the offer.
Yeah, it's why when you gave me an assignment, you offered the assignment.
It's nice, yeah.
And I loved the scale. You asked me to scale it and
see what you tend.
And where I was. And if I was over a certain number,
5,
then I wasn't in a place to take the assignment.
Yeah.
And you kept asking questions until we got to like, okay, I can't do that anymore. I'm good.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's so empowering.
I think if we are looking into the world of loud betterness, right? We have to develop and we have to do this and we have to train that. So in that loud world of the screamers, what they say or what they tell us, and that's what a lot of young people are really suffering from. There is an underlying message of, if you don't like yourself the way you are not a good person. But if you don't want to develop, you're not a good person either. So these types of messages we see a lot, right? You have to be, for example, body positive. But it is okay to start wanting to run a marathon in order to get fitter. So these are two contradictory messages. And what they are doing is they are putting a person under pressure. And the pressure must be That's the outcome, and that's where the sale pitches are coming in, is however and whoever you are at this moment in time is not good enough, right?
Yeah.
That's not offering. That's manipulation, because I put a person in a lose-lose situation and offer myself as the golden whatever to get you out of there.
Right.
Very, very dangerous, especially for people who struggle.
Yeah, it is. And it takes me back to noticing, because isn't that the key? Noticing what's happening within me.
Yes.
So can I tell you about the assignment and how I experienced that?
Yeah. I'm super nosy, and it's yours to share.
Well, and I'm eager to share it and to process it with you, because it was very different. I mean, I just thought like, oh, this is going to be lovely. I
Did
said,
I give you a warning? Please tell me I gave you a warning.
well, I did not expect what happened.
Okay, talk to me.
So the assignment was, it was all about yielding, and you asked me to just find a time, or you took me through a process where I said I was going to identify the same time every day. I was going to set a timer.
Correct.
And whenever the timer went off, like wherever I was,
yeah,
just to notice like what's happening within me, how do I feel, and what am I thinking?
Correct.
Okay. So I set a timer for 1 p.m. And it scared the shit out of me when it went off. Like I literally jumped like for probably 4 days. It like startled me.
Yeah.
And so I was pissed. Like I felt like pissed that I had to stop what I was doing.
Yeah.
And write down how I was feeling for probably 4 days. And then maybe on day 5, it was like, oh, this is a really nice break.
Yeah.
To just sit here for a minute. And how do I feel?
Yeah.
But I just hadn't expected it to startle me like it did. What do you make of that?
So if we go back to what the yielding is a process which we have to undergo when pressure of life is too much and we can't hold it any longer in the position we are in at the moment. The yielding is the bowing under the pressure, under the stress. It's a process that is natural, that's normal, that's not pretty, it's also not nice, and it helps us from breaking apart. But when do we yield, and how does yielding feel, right? We don't know that, because what we normally do is when life hits us or when pressure comes in, we are trying everything to get the hell out of there. Now think about what I have done to you. Allow me to phrase it like this. I've told you that there is a possibility, there is an option to notice whatever is in your life at this moment.
Yeah.
Without judgment, and quite openly, genuinely, transparently at a particular time. And this is the moment when we step in front of the mirror naked and we look, what do we see? And I'm pretty sure there are days where you thought you were at a different place than you actually were.
Yeah.
There are days when you might have just simply been in a flow and it just pissed you off that you had to stop, right? Which is, of course, a time thing. And then there are days where you thought that's utter nonsense because I know how I feel. What the heck is going on? Let me just carry on. Automaticity. But it takes a while to start honoring the ability to look at ourselves, to notice without judgment.
Yes.
That's not how we trained. We are trained to look at ourselves and to judge. Your judgment came with the assumption that's going to be fun. And the jump was, oh shit, it's not fun at all. I'm actually quite angry. Does this make sense?
Especially when like anger is not an emotion that I am friendly with. I I spend so much time pretending like everything's okay. I just keep going. I don't allow myself to feel so much of the time.
Yeah.
And so I'm really grateful for the yielding exercise. Just one of the things I am learning is that it is all okay. And it's all such an important part of the human experience. And letting myself feel as an adult. I mean, I think there were places in my childhood where I was admonished for feeling certain ways or expressing certain feelings. And so what my brain took on was, it's not safe to feel that or to express that. Oh, they like it when I'm happy.
Yeah.
Oh, they like it when I'm joyful.
Yeah.
I'm going to pretend I'm that.
Yeah. But of course, when you are in a situation that is difficult and when you are treated unfairly, it is utterly not normal to respond to it saying, yay, everything is okay. That's just not where our reaction goes to. And when we come to a point where we are exhausted, and yes, we might not be able to pause because we might have an important meeting we have to go to, right? I mean, Andrea, I'm not a unicorn that jumps around on clouds and says, oh, let's just ask the universe that the world is going to be a better place and it's going to rain down. It's not the life I'm living. So I have times where I'm utterly exhausted and there is something I simply cannot not do. Yeah.
Right.
So if I now pretend to be not exhausted, if I don't notice something has to give, and if the giving is purely these 10 deep breaths where I come back into my body, where I notice, if I wouldn't be so exhausted, I might talk a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
I would be a bit more exuberant, but that's not what I can offer. But what I can offer is maybe a slower rating speed with the same sincerity as the faster rating speed.
Mm.
That is the yield.
That's great. And so it's not about not doing the thing that you're doing. It's how, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
recognizing.
Yes. It's more and more the how. That's what the noticing does for us.
That's what the noticing does. It brings that into your awareness and lets it be part of your experience. And isn't it a fuller experience then?
So the noticing, I think, works across two areas. We notice our lived experience. Yeah. And this is when we are looking at existential philosophy. Existential philosophers would say that's the only experience we are having, because life can only be experienced through our own eyes. So what we notice is our lived being, a lived experience. I am angry now. Yeah. That's a lived experience.
Yeah.
And what we can train to do is to notice a bit more the realness of reality. So when you are going to a place that objectively is dangerous, yeah, the realness, the reality is there is danger. Your lived experience of danger will always be, and always, if you are a functional human being in the realms of normality, will always be a type of fear. If you don't like fear because you say, well, I'm an anxious person and I don't like fear and I want to get rid of it, you are trying to avoid noticing that you have fear. But by that, you are also trying to avoid to connect with reality.
Yes.
Let me go to a bigger concept, which is important for the workplace. Stress is something that is created between that and those resources and capability that are objectively existing and our own evaluation of resources and capabilities. If that is not in balance, our psychological makeup creates stress. So I'm talking about negative stress now. If you are feeling stressed, so you can't sleep, and I honestly mean you can't sleep, is not your perceived sleeping badly, but you probably not sleeping very well. You have what we call anxiety diarrhea. You can't eat. You are short-tempered. You have no patience. Your time management goes out of the window. You're doing half projects. There are mistakes that make life even harder. These are all component signals and signs of being stressed. But if you have created an identity that I am the big shot leader and big shot leaders are not stressed, then you are denying yourself to see, to notice that lived experience, because I'm not allowing myself to feel what is there. But by that, you are also denying to yourself to see that the reality of the workplace might be created in such a way that the resources that objectively exist and the capability you objectively have are out of balance with your internal evaluation. So your enemy over time becomes yourself, fighting that what is real in your lived experience, but also real in the realness of reality. And that's why people are not yielding any longer, they're breaking.
Yeah, it's bringing up for me self-trust. I've been thinking so much about that is where it all starts. The more honest I am about what's actually going on within me, the more trust I have in myself. Because I think part of what I'm so afraid of, my partner and I have been talking so much about what is it that I'm so afraid of about those scary moments that I'm afraid I can't handle it. But I know I can. I trust myself enough. I can handle those really hard moments.
Yeah. Again, there is a narrative out there that those ones who can handle difficult situations do not feel the difficulty. Yeah. Those ones who going to, I don't know how you call it, you have these specialists that go into houses where there is a bomb and they are cutting the proper cables.
Right. Yeah. The bomb squad.
Bomb squad, thank you very much. Do we honestly believe these people are not scared? Of course they are scared.
I love that analogy.
When you go into a conflict situation, why would you not be worried about it? When you are losing somebody or something that is of high value, and I'm not talking monetary value necessarily, of high value for you, why would you not grieve? But what we have taught our society over time is that these emotions, firstly, are negative, which is, excuse my language, utter crap, because they are not negative. They are difficult.
They are difficult, but again, the judgment.
But they are not negative.
Right. But we judge them as that. Who says?
Who says that we can't function with grief? We function differently.
Yeah.
But we can function.
Well, and the judgment is really our experience. I think I have now lived a lifetime in which I have avoided tough moments because of my fear. So I've created that judgment.
If you would see me, I'm doing a snake dance here, guys.
She's giving me grace.
I tell you why I don't think I agree with that. We are not disconnected creatures. We are living consistently in relationship.
Yes.
With others. There is a very beautiful existential philosopher, a Buber, and he wrote a book about I and you. And in that book, it's a very small, tiny little book. He says the I, so the me, can only be created through the you. So the creation of how I am on this planet, and you just said, I'm an anxious person, maybe. Listen to the M here. And I am avoiding difficult situation because I am believing I can't do that. So these self-created beliefs, Andrea, can only come into existence through the mirror of another you. Because otherwise they would not exist.
Wow. Damn.
So the idea of it's on me is as much correct as it is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the I can only be created through the you. Mm-hmm. Well, and how others are perceiving me is always a thing. Mm-hmm.
So conflict, for example, a child that cries because it wants attention, this is conflict, yeah? When mom or dad or the sisters or whoever hasn't got time in that moment because, Lord and behold, mom needs to go to the toilet. The conflict is there because there are two different demands which are not syncing up.
Mm-hmm.
This creates a particular I in the baby, but also in the identity of the mother. Right?
The I can only be created through the you.
Mm.
Yeah. I have so many questions about that, but I want to take us in a little different direction.
Go for it.
I would love to talk about the 6 pillars of resilience that you highlight in the book.
Yeah.
Because they are, when I got to this, and in rituals, you call them. So there are 6 types of rituals. You outline why they matter. You give examples. And it's just like, these are normal things throughout the course of my day that are going to support my noticing.
Yeah.
And so again, just so for the people who aren't familiar, so Dr. Ute's book, A Minimalist Guide to Becoming Resilient, How to Yield, Return, and Begin Again.
Yeah.
And even in that subtitle, there's so much grace. I feel like over and over as I read the book, it's like, it's even what we call like messing up isn't messing up. It's like, oh, that's just another thing to notice and yield to, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 The training is not the doing in the sense of, yay. The training is the, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I did, it was before mindfulness became such a huge thing. I did my first mindfulness training in a Buddhist center. And I later on did some training when I worked and volunteered in Sri Lanka. And I had beautiful people who said, the actual work starts when you realize that you are sitting on your cushion. Yeah, because that's how we do it, right? And you notice you're writing a shopping list.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so angry with myself because, I think my ability to focus on my breath is probably 3 seconds long. And then I go off because I have important stuff to do, right? My brain is busy. It thinks. And the learning lies in noticing that I am at the moment writing a workshop. Is noticing that I'm getting really frustrated with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is then getting really pissed off that my feet and my legs are hurting because I sit on that bloody cushion and I'm far too old to do that. And why did my dad not allow me to do ballet classes because that would have helped me, right? I'm still meditating, just saying that. And then to have a little smirk on my face and say, Let me check in with my breath.
Mm-hmm.
That's the training.
Check in with my breath. Coming back to it.
Coming back. This is you do, you yield, you notice, you come back.
So breath. Breath is one of the types of rituals. It's one of the pillars. Movement.
Yeah.
Stillness.
Yeah.
Connection. Reflection. And expression are the others.
Yeah. Now let me say this differently. When we talk or when we look at people who we admire, who we think have cracked life properly, or we have these big, so let's say, for example, Buddha, yeah? This guy did not go to Sweaty Betty and buy himself a pair of joggers. I didn't have a cushion either.
Mm-hmm.
Siddhartha, at one time, the bloke sat down and thought, that's it, full stop. So to me, when I wrote the book, it was about what can we do with the things we have?
What can we do with the things we have?
And the breath is with us as long as we are alive. That's why the breath is a go-to for all of these type of works. Yes, of course, when we're deepening the breath, we are kind of triggering the parasympathetic nervous system. I speak about this a little bit because so the parasympathetic nervous system is the calming system, so it has a physiological outcome which is positive for relaxation. But at the end of the day, as long as you're alive, you can breathe. So you always have that with you. Movement. Again, movement is for most of us something we are having. Not for all of us, but for most of us. And I ask people who listen, who say, yeah, but talking nonsense, of course I know how to move. I'm asking you right now, how does it feel to move your little toe? I promise you don't know. But the moment you are able to notice, how does my little toe move? You are learning a couple of things. Firstly, you get a better understanding of the body, noticing body. Secondly, you are able to redirect attention to something else. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And when your mind goes into total catastrophization or hypothetical anxiety, when you are basically freaking out, yeah, what we are doing is we are feeding our mind. We think we can help overthinking through thinking more. It's basically throwing a lot of petrol into a fire. But just imagine for a moment if you would have trained yourself for a month, once a day, when your alarm goes off and you get pretty pissed with me because I've told you to do so, to notice the movement of your right little toe. And after 1 month, you actually quite automatically notice the toe. Just imagine the power you are having over your petrol-infused brain to focus away from that fire to the calmness of the movement of the right little toe. But that only works when you notice that you are on fire.
Yeah.
Only works when you know how to notice the little toe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Now I can only think about my right little toe.
I like that.
My attention is so shifted on my right little toe. My left little toe is getting jealous.
I like that. So when you do something like a body scan, which comes from Buddhism, I think it comes actually originally from Hinduism, because the Hinduistic tradition has a very physically based meditation. That's why yoga is a thing, right? But it has been taken into Buddhism, and now, of course, it's sold via the mindfulness stuff. So when you do one part of the body and you really focus on that, you notice that the other part says, "Oi, hey,
what about me?
What about me?"
I can move too.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you saying so I was prompting you to go more practical, and you started with what can we do with the things that we have. So even as I'm thinking about these other resilience rituals, connection, expression, it's naturally going to look different to different people.
Yeah.
Connection is a core value for me. I could be having the shittiest day, and if someone walks by and like pats me on the back, like I'm back, it brings me back. Touch is my love language.
Yeah.
So that kind of connection for me, isn't it also recognizing what you need and what grounds you and who grounds you?
Yeah.
One of the examples you give in the book of connection is safe texting. who are the people that you can connect with in that way?
So I think we go often through life and we think everyone needs to cater for everything. You have the best friend and they have to be there for you forever, or the partner you are together needs to be, everything. And that's a tall order, I think. And I personally believe I suck in a lot of things. Right? If you want me to be reliable to say happy birthday, you're going to be really disappointed. I'm not your happy birthday go-to person. I have other qualities. But I've noticed that in myself. Yeah, I've noticed that in myself. So if I notice that in myself, I would like to give the grace to others too. Mm-hmm. Which means I am working with myself to notice what expectations I have that others need to tick. And that expectation helps, that noticing of that expectation, forgive me for being sloppy with the language, the noticing of that expectation safeguards me from getting angry when humans are humans.
Oh gosh, that's so good.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when a friend does not answer a text immediately, she's either a horrible bitch who hasn't got time for me when I always have time for her.
Yeah.
Or she could simply have just started a new job and really struggle, and I was the bitch and didn't ask her.
Yeah.
Or we could simply leave the bitch out and say, interesting, that's my expectation I have at the moment. And now comes the compassion part. What is missing for me right now? What am I yearning for? What am I longing for? And yes, she might not have given that to me, but I still need it. Maybe somebody else can help me out.
That's beautiful. Noticing what we expect of the people in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it all comes back to what's going on within me.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong to have an expectation. The problem starts when it's not reflected. And when it's static, when it's not psychologically flexible. So you go to a restaurant and you order something and you expect it to be a particular way and it comes a different way. Now you have a choice, right? You can say, that's not what I ordered. I sometimes give clients that as a training, right? Because this does not hit your expectations. You also have the choice to suck it up, which is probably not helpful because it violates self-respect. You could also say, how important are these expectations for me, for the situation I am in at the moment? I've sat through so-called romantic dinners where the food that came for the other party was not what they expected. And the behavior they shown was so shitty.
Yeah.
Because it put their expectation above and beyond the togetherness that this dinner should have been.
Yes.
So for anyone who goes out dating, I would say red freaking flag. Okay.
Yeah, because the way in which you do anything says something about how you do everything. That's going to show up in other places.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. I'm not saying don't have any expectations, right? I hope everyone can hear that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when we are in a state of noticing, if noticing is a skill we want to develop, and I just want to say that it's probably more a value-based skill than a goal-based skill, because you will never wake up ever to say, I'm perfect in noticing.
Right.
So you're going to develop that until you die, and you're still not going to be finished. And that's perfectly okay, right?
Absolutely.
The noticing allows us to see us in the context of a situation. It allows us to notice our lived experience. And the lived experience is not only how we see life, but also our longings and our wants and our needs.
Mm-hmm.
And it also allows us through something which is bracketing. I speak a little bit about it, not a lot in the book. The bracketing, the understanding of there is probably a reality out there which I can't really see very well, but I get a notion of it. The noticing helps us to see that too, right? Because the reality with that friend I've given as an example is, wow, you just started a new job and they're probably with the head underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's to noticing.
Yes.
Just what is. Noticing what is.
So whoever works with me, so regardless, right, whether it's people who come and suffer with mental health or whether it's people who come through the leadership program. And I just want to be clear, leader for me is not, I have a CEO badge. I work with leaders who are mothers of families and who have to lead that system. So a leader for me is somebody who is managing a system when there is a lot at stake. That's what I call a leader. Just wanted to clarify that. What I'm always saying is it doesn't matter where you are, we will start with noticing. Because if you don't notice, I can't help with anything I do because you are not seeing what is.
Yeah, I mean, it's why self-awareness is the final exam every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the core of the good leader development programs.
Yeah. And it's difficult. It sounds, and that's the downside of having a calm voice. It sounds so calming, doesn't it? But I want us to remember, and I want to remind everyone on what you said at the beginning. I was pissed when that bloody thing went off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that was hardcore noticing.
Yeah.
In order to understand when do I need to yield.
Yes. Yeah, it's like that. The experience was exactly what it needed to be for me to have some good awareness around it.
Yeah.
It was very helpful. What is a next assignment? What's a next?
So,
Is it continuing the yielding? I mean, that is a practice. That is a daily, ongoing, personal practice for all of us.
we got to level up. Look, we have to level up. We've done kind of the basics, and the basics doesn't mean you stop doing the basics. You got to get better at the basics, right? But I would like to bring an idea in which brings the noticing and the yielding together.
Okay.
And this is realignment. I think everyone, maybe you guys remember we spoke a couple of moments ago about the small things, the 10 deep breaths, right? The readjustment of my assumptions, how the food needs to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The offering rather than the pushing. The noticing that my longing was not fulfilled. Holding that without going to war with the other person immediately, without noticing what's going on. Yeah.
Yep.
So all of these things are difficult. So my question is, why the hell would you do it? Isn't it much easier to go gung-ho at your friend? Because we do that. Isn't it much easier to say to the waiter, that's the wrong food, mate, you got to bring it back? Isn't it much easier to push through and to have another line of cocaine or a bit of ketamine? Because that's what we do. And if you don't want to do that, so if you are open to notice genuinely what's going on, my question is, why the hell do you want to do that? And that's where values are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose and what's the meaning for living life in a different way? Because the yielding is going to hurt. The noticing is going to be annoying. So it must be in service of something.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, with what purpose, with what value, with what life meaning do you want to realign?
What a great question for everyone. And it is such a personal question, isn't it?
Very personal.
Yeah.
Very, very personal.
Yeah. I mean, for me, what immediately comes up is I want authenticity. I want to trust myself enough that I can bring the full experience of what I'm experiencing into whatever I'm experiencing.
Yeah. That's faith.
I don't want to pretend. Mm-hmm.
It's faith in yourself.
Faith in myself. It's a good way to say it. Goodness. How do you feel about being the being at work therapist? The official.
Can I give you the first word that came to mind when you said that about half an hour ago?
I wish you would.
Honored.
Aww. Thank you so much. Well, this is not going to be the last time we hear from Dr. Ute. I just want to celebrate that we have spent almost an hour just talking about noticing.
Yeah.
It is at the heart of this work. I feel it in my bones. And isn't there a readiness? I suspect that there are a lot of people that are annoyed, hurry it up, move it on, what's next, probably stopped the recording a long time ago. But this is the work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for you and your patience and your diligence, and your writing is so beautiful. I want to end with a quote from the book that I've shared. And the world is stressed, and a lot of people are feeling a lot of anxiety. And I know that I have people in my life that are wishing they weren't so anxious. And so this is a quote that really gives us a different way to think about anxiety. And I love it so much. You are anxious because life matters. You care. You are free, but uncertain, and that's okay. Anxiety is not a problem to fix. It's a natural sign of your engagement with existence. Oh, what a beautiful reframe around anxiety.
Yeah.
So thank you for those words. Thank you for that reframe. It's had a big impact on me.
Thank you for saying that.
All right, Dr. Ute. If our listeners want to find you, connect with you, where is the best place to do that?
So the website is www.drute.org.
Dr. Ute.
Short name.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Let's connect to go a bit deeper. How can I help you Looking for an executive coach, a facilitator for a team or leader engagement, or a high energy, heartfelt speaker? Learn more and connect with me through our website at abundantempowerment.com. I look forward to co-creating something magical with you.